Okay, audience, let me ask you and answer honestly. How many of you in here are actual pack rats? Yeah. A lot of people in here are. But I tell you, I thought I was a pack rat because I collect everything and I throw it in closets and it clutters and clutters and grows and grows. I had a friend come over and said, looked at my house and said, well, you know, you're not a pack rat. And I said, yeah, because I had company coming over, because it's all thrown in the closet and hidden. I mean, those of us who are pack rats, like anything else is a little obscure in our personality, we tend to grab onto it and say, I'm proud of it. That's my thing, right? Yeah, okay. But when does that behavior go too far? When do our own personality traits, like being a pack rat, get in the way of a good relationship? Well, we thought that that was something worth talking about today on Rolonda. Have those little eccentricities, those little weird things about our personalities, and for some of us it is being a pack rat. You know, those of us who have more things than we can use, so we pile things in a corner and we claim we're going to get to them later, and don't you dare touch those things, right? Don't move it. We've got stuff piled up in the basement. We've got stuff in the garage, even under the bed, many of us, right? A lot of people agree with this. But what do you do and what do you say when somebody, especially somebody you really care about, says to you, you know, I've had it up to here with all of your clutter? Well, that's what Nancy Hill told her husband, Doug.
I didn't know there was a need for so much junk, just because someday he might need it. I just can't live with a pack rat. There's just too darn much
stuff.
We got tent poles, but no tent for it. This other dishwasher was added not only recently. Oh, here's an empty box. We need that. For someone who has a trailer, there's a step. At the time he bought this, we had no trailer. Oh, and then, I forgot almost. I found this gas pump. Now, I'm not sure why he needed it, but I've got one.
Wait a minute, you can't miss this. Look at Nancy. Nancy, what are you pulling out?
Doug, what? What in God's name are you going to use this for? Why?
Why, Doug?
Why?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
This is made out of almost pure aluminum.
Oh, we're sure it's made out of aluminum, but what do you need it for?
The price of aluminum is up. Take it apart, take the plastic off, take it back to the recycle center, and it's pure
But
profit.
it had been in the garage for 2 years.
That's true.
Hold on, before you go any further, just let me point this out. Nancy says that Doug is such a pack rat that she told him to collect his things and leave. So now, let me just point this out, that Doug and Nancy do live apart. Okay, go back to the gas pump. This thing has really gotten, see, I mean, how serious are you taking this separation?
I filed for divorce. It'll be final in 2 months.
You really did?
Yeah, we've been separated for about 3 or 4 months now.
You've been separated for 3 or 4 months, and was it all because of this pack ratness?
Well, there were a few other problems, but the backpack... Rat packing is the icing on the cake.
Pack rat, yeah. Collecting things,
Yes.
Collecting too many things.
That was the icing on the cake. He wouldn't make any effort to get rid of it.
Wow, so you said those collectibles are me?
There was no using the backyard even, because someone might touch his stuff.
All right. What is it, Doug, about collecting or pack ratting that you like so much?
I hate seeing things throw it out that can be used eventually. Mm-hmm. Eventually.
Like that step for that trailer.
Well, like a husband too. I hate seeing that fall apart. But the step of the trailer, we had talked about getting our own trailer, our own motorhome. Mm-hmm. Here's a nice step. The one that I have now, the trailer I'm living in, the little 26-footer, has got a broken step. Now I can use it.
Right. So did you go buy the trailer with the broken step so you could use the step?
No, I broke the step. I broke the step with the backhoe.
With the backhoe.
When I was putting it in place.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, what is it about this collection, this clutter, that makes? What does it do for your life when you're living with them? And I think we saw the pictures there, but
When he and I first got together, he had told me he was a pack rat.
You got it, pack rat.
Pack rat. And
easy to say.
my conception of what a pack rat was and what his was apparently two different things, because at first I was glad because I thought I was a pack rat.
Right.
And I found out I was wrong. He started bringing in stuff until my 2-car garage was filled with his stuff. And then eventually he overtook the shed and the back porch, and then there still wasn't enough room, so he built a 20 by 12-foot lean-to off the garage and filled that up also. And then he filled up one of the bedrooms with his stuff. And
Oh, me. So that
Now the bedroom.
everyone's going, mm-mm.
Now there's a lot of this. Now you got to understand. When we met, I was in college, going for appliance repair. Finished the school. I had my own business. All of these spaces that she's talking about was filled up with appliance parts and stuff that I was packing home for parts that I was going to use for other appliances in my trade. And this was my business. This was my trade. This is what I do for a living. Well, that kind of spread from one spot to the next to the next.
So when Nancy complained about that, what was your reaction to her? What did you wish that she would understand?
That it's necessary for me. You used a phrase earlier that someone may have even cured a pack rat. What makes you think we're sick? What is there to what is there to cure? What is there to cure? I don't understand. What is there to cure?
Well, I thought I was a pack rat until I started hearing about your story. And then there's a difference between collecting clutter and filling up your house with odds and ends. But that works for you. You like that. I mean, how do you defend that by saying that's part of your work or part of your...
Well, the appliance stuff, the stuff that she's talking about that overtook this garage, then that garage, then the lean-to, and then the back porch. Well, that was all... I owned my own business. This is where my business was at. I didn't have a shop downtown.
Nancy?
Just storing this.
there was a lot of stuff that was in the garage that had nothing to do with the business. It was
In the
just
back
stuff.
garage,
Yeah, well, like the 8-track players. We don't need 8 of them.
Can you buy them?
Or the 31
But you
tape
but you
Atari card machines.
Well, I didn't have those there.
Okay, no, but
I had 12 of them.
yeah.
So how's
But
the
you
set-
can't buy those anymore. You can't. The 8-tracks you can't buy. You cannot go down to any of the stores and buy an 8-track anymore.
So are you going to do something with them one day?
Yeah, when this one breaks, I got another one. I have over 160 tapes
Okay, so
with good music
He
still
never
on.
listens to them.
so let me ask you this: how's the separation working out?
Actually, we get along great now. We go out for a date once every couple weeks. We have fun now.
Do you really want to go on with the divorce? Truly?
Yeah, I really, truly do. Even when we're together for too long, if it's more than a few hours, we start bickering again.
Okay. Question.
Easy to
Yeah,
get
hi, Rolonda. I think does nostalgia play a role in this? Because one time I had an old pair of shoes, I didn't want to get rid of it because it had good times in it.
some of the nostalgia. Yeah, some of the nostalgia is there. I didn't realize it, but I had started collecting a fishing reel collection. I didn't know I even had one started.
Question.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was something more. I mean, to get divorced over some junk in the garage seems a little peculiar, a little weird. I don't know. Maybe there's bigger things involved.
Well, like she said, there was other problems. Then this was the icing on the cake. Take the icing away, you still got the cake.
Tell us, Doug, what do you do for a living?
Now or before?
Now.
I work at a recycle center. It is.
Hey, Nancy, he comes by it honestly. Wait a minute.
You go through life and never know what you want to do, never know what job you're going to hold down, and hope you can go to school forever. Then all of a sudden she threw me out, so I contacted Larry, my school chum that I went to school with. He said, "Sure, I got a job for you." And I went out there, and it worked out perfectly.
And I bet you're happy as you can be out there collecting, right?
Pig and slop.
Pig and slop. If you think that Doug's gas pump is a rather weird collector's item, get a load of our next pack rat story. You're going to meet a woman who saves 8 garbage bags full of socks with no mates. Why? When we come back. the resistance in this show so far has been Doug, the great pack rat man himself, admitting that you work in a recyclable center?
Recycling center.
Recycling center.
Yes.
Is that the same as like a dump?
No.
No. But you collect, it's a place where you collect things also?
No, the cities and the county brings their garbage dump to, or their garbage, raw garbage, dumps it on our floor. Then it's the metals and stuff that's just taken out.
So you collect from there too? Come on, Doug, give it to me.
Yeah.
But you know something, I bet, and I'm just supposing here, I mean, I guess part of the fun that you find in collecting or pack racking is the search. I mean, is that...
Oh, no.
No.
No. I just run into it.
You just run into it?
Yeah. A broken fishing rod, take it, cut it, put one of those reels on there, stick it in a little pole in my den, and
Well, let me
displays
bring in a pack, because now not just guys are pack rats, right? Mary Jo Thompson's one. She says that she knows she has a problem. She says she's obsessed with saving everything but her money. She's so worried. She's so worried about her compulsion that she's afraid it's now rubbing off on her 7-year-old daughter. And that, she says, is what made her call our show for help. Let's take a look at Mary Jo's accumulations over all these years.
Come on inside and I'll show you some of the stuff I save. 6 weeks worth of unmatched socks. And these are some of the things I bought for Christmas last year that I couldn't find, so they didn't get given. We just had quite a few of the girls' things cleaned. We have a whole collection, and the whole bill for this was $4,500, discounted to $3,763. This is Mary Margaret, my littlest pack rat. Mary Margaret's 7, and saves everything. These are some of our wedding presents that we got 13 years ago. Never opened, never used.
Mary Jo! That's really all of yours. First of all, the cleaning bill for more than $4,000?
Discounted.
Discounted.
To 37 or whatever.
Is that because you never throw clothes away?
Yeah. I really don't. I save everything.
Why?
I don't know. I just do. We had 5 kids, and we're foster parents, and I keep thinking, well, somebody will come down the line, and they're going to need something, and then...
Listen to this. You have a whole community of folks.
Thank you.
Come here. So go on. That's the thing. Is that
So I think they're going to need it. And when they do, they need it like right now, and I'm kind of sure I know where it is, but I'm not absolutely sure, so I have to buy something new. So then instead of having 1 cowboy hat, I now have 2. Or, the stuff that they need for winter coats when kids come, or, someone needs a winter coat. Mary Jo's got it.
Mary Jo has everything. And you said, your house has everything too?
Yes, it does, because I have 5 children also, and I keep thinking that somebody's going to come along and I'm going to pass it on. I cherish things like that. I have a shoe that I think I threw the other one away, but I refuse to throw this one away because, this is a...
Somebody might come along with the other one, right?
But I just want to say the best way how I clean my house is my daughter, my oldest daughter. She doesn't let me in. She does all the cleaning, and that's how I get rid of my things.
Well, honey, she's got a 7-year-old, and that's what brought her to our show today. She's worried about that 7-year. Thank you so much. What did your daughter, Mary Margaret, right? What did little Mary Margaret do that made you say, oh my gosh, I think I'm rubbing off?
I'm a nurse, and I was a camp nurse, and we were at camp, and we have a big arts and crafts building. And we went in there, and Mary Margaret and her little friend Zach were doing painting and stuff, and I said, fine, and I got back to our cabin, and there was all this stuff, and I thought, there's no way you guys could have done this, and I said, Mary Margaret, where did you get all this stuff? From the trash. Oh. And I went, why do you have it? Because I like it. I said, throw it out. And she was real angry and said, no, I'm keeping it. It's mine. And I thought, this is like a rerun of me. We're going to do something.
Did you start very young?
I didn't. I don't remember doing it. When I was a teenager, I think I started to save stuff. And then after I graduated from high school, I went to college and I lived with my grandparents who were elderly. And my grandma grew up in the Depression where they saved everything. So that kind of, it made sense to me. Why buy more aluminum foil if you've got a piece that you
could recycle? What is the thing that you fear most that you really don't want your daughter to go through? I mean, has it been painful for you in any way or difficult?
It's funny because it's become a joke. My best friend Darlene Foreman comes over and she has 5 girls. And she says, if I need something, I know I can come get it from you. But they all make jokes about my house. And I have a very, very large house. I have 6 bedrooms. And I'm worried that, I don't know, that if I died real suddenly, they'd just go at my house. They might as well just, you know.
Close the door.
Yeah, they'll probably have a garage sale for months.
Hold on, one question.
My husband also is a pack rat, but he saves clothing. He stepped out one morning in clothes that he hasn't had on in about 15 or 20 years. And you know what that style looked like back then. And I said, George, where did you get that stuff? In my closet.
Oh, my goodness. So you can relate to these stories, right?
I sure can.
Oh, my. Well, let me find out what Mary Jo's husband thinks about this. Daniel, what's it like living with a pack rat? Come on and join me.
It's terrible. It's trying to find, where do you put all the stuff? You
Right,
know,
come
I just
here,
keep
sit
running out of room.
You keep running out of room. So do you guys bicker over this a lot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
Do you wish you'd clean up and throw some of that stuff away?
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
I've been trying to have a semi just pull up and we just unload everything and just let it be pulled away. Then she can start over again.
Daniel, my producers told me that you were embarrassed to come on this show and tell the whole nation about your house.
Yeah.
You were?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's terrible telling everybody that you got all this clothing and all these socks in your house. And what do you do with them?
And what do you do with them? Thank you, Daniel. You're not alone. Next, how a wife of 10 years actually thinks she solved her husband's pack rat problems and thus made her own life a bit better. And later on in this show, we've got somebody who's going to show all of us pack rats how to get rid of clutter before our loved ones get rid of us. We'll be right back in a bit. Let me tell you something. On this show, if you're a pack rat, not only will your spouse turn you in, these girls over here are best friends. This is Tracy and Debbie. And when we were talking about the collection, when we started talking about that little piece of tin foil, what was this going?
She washes it out. And she also washes out Ziploc bags and reuses them. I don't understand it.
My mother always did.
Everything.
See, it works that way. Okay.
I just always, I just conserve everything. I always think that I'm going to need an extra plastic bag or a piece of tin foil and run out.
Okay, thank you, ladies. You ever somebody come along need tin foil, we know where to go, right? Come on and meet some other folks that are joining us today. Estella Odell says that she fell in love with a pack rat. And by golly, the woman says she still loves the man. A man who goes so far as to collect Happy Meal toys. Take a look at this.
My husband's a pack rat. We've been married over 10 years, and when we first got married, he promised me that I could have half my garage. Well, as you can see, I don't have any of the garage, nor most of the side of the house or our bedroom. His stuff is everywhere.
I've got these 3 televisions here.
It's everywhere.
I got a couple of barbecue grills, an eyeball I found, and some dried armadillo meat. And when I was up in Idaho visiting my brother,
He brought home his plate from Mars or somewhere.
it's an 86 Mustang that I traded for. There's a 65 Mustang fastback that I plan to restore someday. This is another Mustang. It had a wrecked front end on it, and I'm going to replace that someday.
If he ever does, I think I'll need CPR.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet Estella and Michael Odell. That's a bit much. That's a lot. Michael, Happy Meals.
Yeah.
What do you want?
I want the toy.
You want the toy?
He'll fight our kid for that toy.
Well, she buys 2 now.
Yeah, we're going to McDonald's order 2, one for him and one for the child.
Oh my God. So when people come over to your house, what do you do?
They say, well, if someone wants something, they'll say, does Mike have it? I said, well, if you can find it out there in that stuff, you're welcome.
That's right. You need an eyeball, Michael help you.
Right. I pray
Always keeping an eye out for you.
I pray for deer season.
Pray for deer season?
Yeah, he leaves. I can throw stuff out when he's gone.
Oh. Now, what would you do, Michael, if Estelle had touched your stuff?
Well, she does sometimes, and I ask her where it's at, and she says, well, have you opened up your top drawer on your dresser?
So you know where everything is.
About once a month, Rolonda. I go in his dressers about this deep, okay? And I got boxes in the garage, and they got July, March, June, whatever month, and I do this. And I'm like, Mike stuff, throw it out in the garage. And they go, where's those screws for so-and-so? And I said, what month was it you needed them screws? And he said, well, maybe he said March. I said, well, go out there in the garage and look at March's box. It might be out there.
And it's there. So that's an interesting way because it gets the clutter out of your face and gets all your clutter into your box, and then everybody's happy?
Well, pretty much. I mean, I do set my foot down when it comes time that I can't get to the washer or dryer. Yeah. He's got two choices then. Either you can clean up the mess or you can wash the clothes.
So, Michael, explain to us, what is the big thrill about pack ratting?
Well, it's mine.
Look at Doug, and you got it. Right. Let me tell you, when that tape was running and we were in your home via tape here, did you see Doug's face? Doug was like, I finally got a club member. I got a partner.
It's more like he's, like we were talking earlier, him and I look at it very similar. In case you gotta have it, in case you need this or that, you got it.
You got it.
For instance, I've been carrying this little wheelbarrow wheel for several months. Guess who needed one for her wheelbarrow?
Oh, God, well, that's pretty
Boy,
good.
she was glad I hung on to that thing.
Well, Doug, how many commercial shower heads do you need from a hospital? I need none.
Oh,
I wanted to ask,
those.
how do you get your stuff? Do you drive around? Do you see the stuff on people's
Oh,
garbage?
I got the answer for that.
Stella.
Tuesday night in Deer Park, Texas is heavy trash night. Everybody sets their junk out. Well, Mikey and his friend Leonard get in our pickup truck and they cruise the neighborhood. They bring home microwaves, refrigerators, televisions, and sometimes they make some money on it. Now, truly, I can't condemn him too bad because when he was out of work for 18 months, he took the junk that he picked up and took it to the flea market and made $200 or $300 a week. But the flea market's a little slow now. My garage is a little full.
Question.
Would you guys consider yourself more of junk men instead of pack rats? I mean, to me, this is just all junk in your place. This makes no sense to me at all. I mean, it seems like you've been watching a lot of Sanford or something like that.
It all depends on how you look at it, really. If you need it, you got it, you're happy. If you need it, you haven't got it, oh boy.
You go find it.
You have to go hunt it down.
Wow. Question.
I consider this my primary problem in life, this collecting. My last lover, she collected, and she bought the Toy Shop magazine every month, and I know what he means by collecting Happy Meals, because those are collectibles. But then my next lover, I had like 6 stacks of the New York Times. In fact, my brother said I'll never have to buy another New York Times because I have enough to catch up on forever. So I just lost my last lover, and please come back.
Oh.
I've given up collecting. No more collecting.
Oh, so you're willing to change your ways.
That's it. And I'm going to Obsessive Compulsors Anonymous.
Yeah, because you know what we're going to talk about in just a little bit? Mm-hmm. Do you know there's actually a self-help place to go if you're a compulsive collector? Mm-hmm. We're going to give you the number in just a minute. Also up next, how to get the clutter out of our lives and tips on getting our acts together when it comes to our homes and offices. We're going to clear away those clutters when we come back. We'll be right back. Thank you. I know there's some other questions.
Yes, I'd like to know, when did this obsession compulsion begin? Did it start when you were small children, or did it progress as you got older?
Michael?
Well, My mother never threw anything away. She knew where everything was.
Yeah, that's what the other lady was saying who collects the tinfoil and the paper bag, the plastic bags over here.
We
Question.
blame it on Mama.
No, I have a comment. I live with a pack rat, but not a pack rat like that. A pack rat of like dirt.
No.
Yeah. She'll sweep the floor and like leave a pile of dirt there all day and all through the week, so I have to like clean up like that.
Oh, God. So now you see what it's like to live with somebody who collects all kinds of weird things. It's tough on the people who live with you. Come on.
Doug, it really seems like you care a lot about Nancy and that the separation or divorce is a little devastating for you, yet you still are not willing to take your stuff and even put it in an off-site shed or not even throw it away but move it off your property.
Oh, all my stuff is gone away from her property.
But I think maybe what you're asking is, you know, when it comes down to a choice of your wife or your stuff.
He feels that if he gives up his stuff, then he's giving up control. That means that I won. I made him make a decision.
Is
His
that how
stuff
you
or me.
feel, Doug?
We've had a problem with who's got control of the house. It's the dangling of the keys over the house. It was her house before we got married. And
So maybe it sounds
So
like a possession thing. It may not. It may be your house, but it's my stuff, right?
well, it's not that, I mean, I'd give up anything to still be with her, but she won't allow it.
Nancy, Mike and I kind of faced the same thing. We were both married before, and I think kind of the way we addressed that is we loved each other enough to say, okay, this was my house, but we gave up and sold that house and we bought our house. We got rid of everything except for my dining room furniture. We'll get rid of it eventually. That belonged to an ex-marriage.
But do you think, Estella, it's fair to ask somebody to give up their stuff? I mean, even if it's a bit much for...
Then it becomes then you buy it together and it becomes our stuff.
And you got two pack rats.
You were saying that, you know, you clear off his dresser once a month and you put it in a box and you put it in the shed or in the garage. But don't you understand you're like being a pack rat just like him? I mean, I throw it away on my husband. He says, where's the bill? I throw it away. Where's the paper? I throw it away.
That's his stuff. That makes him happy. I would be unhappy if he came to my side of the room and threw away my sewing machine or whatever I call my personal things. In our house, every room belongs to the person that lives there. In other words, my mother lives with us. Her room is hers. That's hers. But I tell him, half of this room you have to share with me. And I have a right to a clean room.
Okay. Let me bring it, speaking of a right to a clean room. For the past 10 years, our next guest, Terry Ward, has been getting people's acts together, cleaning up their rooms. She will actually, in her business, go to a pack rat's house and clean up the clutter for them. Terry says that after helping hundreds of people organize their homes and their offices, their apartments, their closets, she's not only seen a lot of her business grow, she's seen an awful lot and learned an awful lot about human nature, I'm sure. Please welcome Terry Ward, owner and operator of Get Your Act Together. Welcome. How in the world did you decide to go do this?
Everybody has a problem. I saw all the people raise their hand. I bet half of the people that raised their hand, it's only half. I bet lots of other you have a lot of more problems.
Really? Why do people collect to a point of obsession?
Well, I think the buzzword is control. It's not only control of the other person, which is what I think you two are dealing with, and that's an issue, I think, for maybe a different kind of help. It's a control of their own environment. We live in a world where everybody's out of control, or they feel out of control. And if you're in your house, no matter whether it's your stuff, you keep it. You have it under your control, and outside is different.
Yeah, I always get afraid that when you walk home and you see a messy house, that's a symbol of what your life is going through. And it's time to clean up because I can't get my head together if my house is all over the place. Let me show you, just give you an example of what Terry does, because we sent her off to one messy apartment. We'll talk to the person it belongs to in just a minute. But just take a look at what Terry does in her job, getting somebody's act together. Watch.
Here we have a typical apartment. Not enough space, too much stuff. no filing system, no place to put their clothes, no place to move. First thing I'm going to do is take all of these clothes that you see and put them in storage. The second thing I'm going to do is take all of these papers and magazines and catalogs and put them in their own box. The third thing I'm going to do is take all the stuff off the walls, all these pinned up instructions, photographs, put it in a box. So what you see now is at the midpoint of this project, there's not one single extraneous item on any of these shelves. She's not going to miss a thing.
So what do you think of this new apartment? That was quite a job. I'd like you to meet Linda. This was Linda's apartment. She's an investigative producer over there at American Journal, but yet she can't keep that apartment straight, right? What'd you think about that?
I don't recognize it, but I'm terrified because my research is in that apartment for at least every story I've ever worked on.
And you'll never be able to find it?
I'm sure it's there somewhere.
It's in a box marked research.
There you go. It's in a box marked research.
Why didn't I think of that?
Why didn't you think of that? Boy, oh boy, we'll continue this. And when we come back, how to find out if you are a pack rat. I mean, is your clutter clouding your vision? We'll be back in a minute. Thanks. There you go. Today, you know those people who just love to keep everything. And you said, I was laughing at Linda saying, I know you're an investigative producer and I know you're busy and a working woman. She says, what are you kidding me? It's not being at work all the time. What'd you tell me it was?
It's not always work. There's a lot of sentimentality, I think, as Terry saw. I mean, I have every rose that's ever been given to me that was dry.
And ladies, hello!
But they're all dead. They're all dried.
Yeah, and tchotchkes, and a lot of them are just gifts that have been given to me, and because the person means so much to me, I keep the gift, even though I'll never use it. In some cases, I even hate it.
But you'll keep it.
Because
well, all that stuff's gone now. No. No. Terry didn't do that.
The beauty of a system like this is it's in a box. It hasn't gone in the garbage. Aunt Sophie doesn't have it anymore. It's in a box. And you can pack it up. You can put tape on it. You can put it in storage. It's still yours, but it doesn't collect dust on your dresser, which is the next thing you have to go to.
You know what I'm thinking now? Oh, more room for more things.
Yeah, exactly. Here. This is, I know, what were you pointing to her for? Oh, come on. Is this another pack rat story?
Well, of course it is.
Okay, stand up. Come on. Everybody's turning it. The pack rat police here today. Come on. This must be your mom.
Yes, this is Mary.
Okay. Hi, Mary. How are you?
Hi.
And your name?
Norma.
Norma.
Yeah.
Who's the pack rat here?
She is. Yes. Ever since I was a child, she's kept everything. She's got things that, from before she moved in with my father, I was talking to my father, and they've been married about 21 years, 22 years. And he says longer than that. She's still got the same kitchen table, and it's sitting in the front room because we got a new kitchen table. And she's still got the leopard skin coats and the go-go boots and.
Go, Mama! So when you hear your daughter getting on you like that, what do you say to her? What's your response?
Well, it's mine. And keep your hands off.
That's right, honey. You're lucky to have a kitchen table last that long. Thank you.
I think my husband belongs on the shore with the rest of these guys. We had a refrigerator that broke, I think it was back in 1971, and right now it's on the porch that we're supposed to eat on in the summer. We had a car that broke down. He kept it in the side yard by the garage for about 5 years until I threatened to call the cops. And anything, I'm serious, anything in my house that breaks, if it's his, he will keep it forever.
Forever and ever and ever. Well, that brings me to you, young man. Can you join us? This is Dr. Hatton. Dr. Hatton's going to help us unclutter this discussion of clutter. This is Dr. Jim Hatton. He is of the Department of Psychiatry. clinical director of the Obsessive Compulsive Disorders Program at University of California, San Diego. Boy, this sounds like a heavy thing.
Sounds like a mouthful, doesn't it?
It does. So what's behind all this clutter? Why do we become pack rats?
Well, you've heard a lot of things from a lot of people today about the sentimentality and the collectibles and the things like that. And I think what it goes to point out is that it's an extension of otherwise normal behavior. We all like to save things that are important to us. But at some point it goes beyond that and it becomes a burden to our life functioning. You heard some people talk about how your mother never threw anything away. Is that right? So some of this is learned. Some of this is stuff that we get exposed to as kids, and some of it actually is biochemical. Pack ratting is a subgroup of obsessive compulsive disorders, which seems to have some learning and some biochemical, that is hereditary, input.
Do you see anything like that among our guests?
Well, it's hard to see which is which, but my guess is that all of our guests who are pack rats probably have a little bit of that hereditary in there, and a little bit of the learning and a little bit of the psychology. Now, you're pointing at your wife there. You think she's got some of that?
No, but I've got her trained.
You got her trained. All right. People who later develop compulsive behaviors like this often have a genetic predisposition for it. And whether or not they develop pack ratting or some other compulsive behavior depends a lot on their socializing and their personal psychology.
Well, let me ask you this. Mary Jo is concerned that her 7-year-old, Mary Margaret, is going to start collecting too. And Daniel, my goodness, I know he doesn't want to live with 2 pack rats in his house. Can she stop her daughter's behavior before she turns into a pack rat like Mom?
Sure.
How do you do that? Mary Jo might want to hear that.
Well, there are a couple ways. One is through educational programs like this. I mean, you're doing a great service by educating the public about what pack ratting is. And what it is really is a problem that gets in the way of our life. As a problem, as a subclass of a disorder, it's treatable. It's treatable with behavior therapy. There are even medications to treat it.
Do you have to go to behavior therapy to stop pack ratting?
You don't have to, but it sure helps.
It helps. It helps. It helps. Hold on, question.
Hello, this is to Doug. You gonna try to save your marriage?
I'd love to. Thank you. It's not. The ball's not in my court. I'd want it to. Yeah.
We went for counseling for almost a year.
When you went to counseling, was it about this particular
compulsion? Well, there were a few other things, but it had to do with the complete takeover of my, well, like half of my house.
She had her own lifestyle before I met her.
I'm not allowed to use my backyard.
I cramped it.
Because of
I crowded her with my things, and I cramped her style with her daughters and her grandkids.
So, Doug, would you be willing to throw away some of the stuff?
I have thrown away probably 80% of the stuff.
I see Terry shaking her head like, people don't part with their things.
But he didn't throw away anything because he wanted to. He threw it away because there was no place for it now.
See, that's exactly what it is. If you have to want to do it, this is what you're talking about.
He didn't want to.
It's exactly the same thing as alcohol. It's exactly the same thing as drugs. People are not giving this enough weight to just say, throw it out. It's like saying, stop doing drugs.
Okay, but
stop eating.
All of our wars have made it America free, so we can do what we want to.
Dr. Hatton, what are you seeing in here? You read between the lines for us.
Well, there's certainly a lot of, you can't do it because you just don't want to, but at some point we have to recognize that this is an anxiety problem. And when people who have all these collections face the prospect of giving up their collectibles, there's a lot of anxiety behind that. It's as if you or I were standing on the edge of an airplane 3,000 feet up with no parachute and somebody trying to push us out. We would hang onto that door for all intents and purposes.
I'd call these guys and see if they collected any parachutes.
That's right.
We'll be back with more after this. I'm sorry. Estimated that 1 in 10 people is a pack rat or hoarder, and that there are actually support groups cropping up all over the place for people who have a problem with obsessive collecting. That's quite interesting. You didn't know. I didn't know it was that tough a thing. You had a question.
After I've listened to all of them talk, I feel like there's a common thread between all of you, and that is that you don't want to run out of anything. There's not enough of. You know, I know I come from a family of 8 kids, and my mother was a pack rat, and there was 8 kids, but it's dirty. You know, it's filthy. It collected dirt, and a lot of times, and I also think that I'm sorry, but you also have a control problem because you go into people's lives and you fix up people's lives. You go into disorder, and you're organizing people. You're fixing other people's lives.
Well, I don't call them. They call me.
All I'm saying is that here we have, it's also compulsive, being too clean.
I agree. I think you're absolutely right. Nobody wants to be in a house where everything is, you can't move. God forbid you spill a drink on the, nobody wants to be that either, but there's something in between there. There has to be some kind of in-between space. And nobody here has found that yet.
My house is clean. It's in the small, like, I have 6 bedrooms. We only need 3. You can't, and that, to walk into my house, you would have no clue that I'm a pack rat. You would have absolutely
You're
no
a closet pack rat, right?
My mom was not. My mom was extremely tidy. Extremely.
I'm wondering if the fact that I don't get the impression that any of you are from the city, I would like to be a pack rat, but I don't have any space. Does that have anything? Does that have anything to do with your ability to be a pack rat?
No.
So if you had a 2-bedroom apartment, you would still have as much stuff.
I think you got a point there. If I lived here in this big city and had a little bitty apartment upstairs, no, I wouldn't have.
Yes, you would.
Stand up.
I wouldn't have the things I have.
You'd have less, but you'd have a lot.
Up to that. It's kind of like a woman's purse. You fill it up to capacity, whatever size it is.
Yes. I lived in a studio apartment in New York City, and I had to manage it very carefully. I tended to collect a lot of things. And now we live in a 12-room Victorian house, and people do expand to meet the size of their houses.
They do.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're speaking from experience. Come on. You guys are married, right?
Yes.
But life wasn't always happy.
Yep.
Yep. And it dealt with this pack rat business, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Until you got help.
Yep.
Yes.
Tell me. Yep. So tell me what made you decide that you got to a point where you needed therapy, and you went to Dr. Hatton, right? No, you didn't. Okay, sorry. Okay. But tell us at what point that your relationship had gotten where you realized you needed help with this thing.
About 5 or 6 years ago, and we had gone to many doctors who said just throw it out. And every time I touched his stuff, he would get really angry. And I started doing research on it, and I started a support group to cope with clutter because there just weren't that many out there at the time.
Now, when you guys gather, do you laugh and joke about it like we do?
We're great people. We have great stories. We have great collections. We're kind. We're compassionate. We give our things away only to needy people. Good senses of humor. Nobody sees that side of us.
Well, you know, when we were pulling this show together, and the reason we did this show is because there are so many pack rats around that we found out that I said, I bet pack rats are the greatest storytellers because you have such wonderful items and the way you collected them.
Yes. Well, we do. And one of the things that's helping me is I do have a couple of really good collections. I have probably one of the 10 best collections in the country of Victorian board games, which have become a very kind of hot collectible.
So what you've done is with your collection is centered it on one thing and call it a day.
Well, I still have about 4 or 5 collections. I have a collection of TV guides and assorted other things.
Victoria's Secret catalogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've tried to limit it to those things. I've tried to get rid of a lot of things. And
you've got it under control. That's the main thing, right?
It's a constant battle.
Okay.
And I'd also like
Wait, I got to collect commercials right now, okay? You don't have to be a pack rat to want to get your act together. When you come back, we're going to give everybody some tips on organizing your home, your office, and keeping that pack rat business under control. We'll be right back in a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's like a diet.
Gone to a friend's house and wondered how in the world do they keep everything looking so neat and orderly? Well, Terry's here to tell us how they do it. Terry, how can we, like when we finish watching this show and we're looking at all that clutter around the house, what are some things we can do on a quick afternoon to kind of get our act together, as you would say?
Well, the first thing, I think we have a conflict here. You have people who do not want to change and people who do want to change. I'm going to talk to the people out there who do want to change, because that's most of the people who call me. They want to change. Stop feeling guilty. Does anybody feel guilty here?
Yes.
Stop feeling guilty. There are thousands of people just like you, and all it's going to do is keep your forward movement from going on. Stop listening to other people. Everybody's going to say, how come you can't organize your house? It's not their business, it's your house. Okay, once you stop feeling guilty, you're at what they call giving yourself permission to change it. Then get help. If you get somebody who'll say, I'll help you do it, but I won't make you feel guilty, that's fine. And do you see the boxes that I put up there? That the most foolproof system in the world is to get 50 boxes and label them.
That's what I really liked about what you did to Linda's apartment. Did y'all see that? A box. What did those boxes say? What did each box?
One box says financial papers. Anything that has to do with financial papers.
And the other box said what?
Catalogs, magazines, receipts, tchotchkes, of which is a large box, which has a very big box.
Question.
Let me ask you a question. What can I do about my friend? She can't study, nothing until her room is perfectly clean, her clothes are ironed.
That's another show. She's too neat.
Rolanda, there are lots of places to get help for people like this young lady here and for people who have cluttering problems.
Okay. In fact, at the end of this show, why don't we let people know where you can get help and you can find comfort in numbers, okay? Hold on.
I put everything in scrapbooks. I collect things off airplanes, probably shouldn't, like knives, forks, sugars. And so just to keep it all organized and put it under the couches and things so no one has to see it.
Okay, come on.
I'd like to know if it has anything to do with like security, maybe the doctor, like making you feel secure with, all the stuff around you.
Holding on so tightly.
Sure. It has a lot to do with people feeling anxious if they get rid of it. The flip side of that is they feel more secure if they have it around them.
Okay, we'll be back and continue this discussion and give you some places where you can get some self-help. We'll be right back. Screen here and an address. This is for help for all you pack rats or the families of pack rats. World Service Organization for Clutterers Anonymous. Obviously, there are a lot of people. 1 out of 10 of us suffer from this, so call that number and get some help. I do have to tell you this as we say goodbye. I'm sitting here saying how much I enjoyed the guests in the bit, and I reminded the panel that this is one of the last shows that we're going to be taping on this set. We're going to get a brand new set. And what did Michael say? Can we take a piece of the set with us? What's that you said you have for me?
I want to start you with your own collection on. I want to get you a T-shirt.
Oh, no. No, don't take it.
Oh, no. The world champ Rockets from Houston.